Hi, I'm Dr. Linda Horton, and this is the Helpful Homeschooler. We are continuing our series on frugal homeschooling. So we're going to talk today about putting some unit studies together and maybe incorporating more than one subject into one class. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Second grade usually is when they start talking about the presidents of the United States. Now, one of the good things about homeschooling is you don't have somebody else teaching your children what they think about politics or people. This is totally you. So when you're doing a class, let's say on the American presidents, this is a book I have. I also have the one on the first ladies. So if I was doing it, everybody's going to teach to their bent. That's one of the whys that we homeschool, because we have a biblical worldview. And I want my children and my grandchildren to be taught a biblical worldview. That's my prerogative as a homeschooler. So I'm going to teach about the presidents, and I'm going to, let's say I'm going to read the book, and then I'm going to disseminate the information to the children, whatever grade they can pick up, whatever I want them to pick up. If I was doing an elementary and a high schooler together, of course I would require different things. I would require a paper from the high schooler, and maybe just to the elementary student would maybe do a fill in the blank about the presidents. Knowing the presidents is important. Knowing where they came from, knowing what they do. I love this because let's just say this is James Buchanan. So it says he's the 15th president. It talks about where he was born, where he graduated from, his political experience, what he did when he died. Now, a lot of times when they teach from curriculum, they will expect them to know when they were born, when they died. I'm not a real stickler for that, because you as a homeschool parent went to school, correct? You learned all those facts, correct? How many do you know? Yeah. I like to pick out the interesting stuff and know that it's going to stick. So let's say I'm going to do something about the presidents. I'm going to match it with their wives, which is never done. So already I'm thinking outside the box. I might add some movies about presidents to it, which again, I'm thinking outside the box. And then I have a book called Entertaining at the White House, which is a history/home economics book for me. It has stories about the presidents. It has stories about what they like to eat, who cooked for them, how they cooked for them, and it has a lot of recipes in it. So for me, this is a great addition to talking about the presidents. Now I'm adding home economics. I'm teaching one class, but I'm getting two classes out of it. That's frugal. Now, this book, I would just say, oh my goodness, I don't know where to start. I just wanted to add something about this book. It says, Dear Mr. blah, blah, blah. This is an invitation. I am to be married on Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock at the White House to Miss Folsom. It will be a very quiet affair, and I will be extremely gratified at your attendance on that occasion. This is yours sincerely, Grover Cleveland. Now, what do we know about Grover Cleveland? We know that he was the first Democrat to occupy the White House in 27 years. He was a bachelor when he took office, and he got married in office. To me, that's exciting. So I might not know what year he was born. I might not know what year he died, but I'm going to know that he was a bachelor and that he married during his tenure. I think that's exciting. And that's what this book says. This is history, but yet, like I said, it's home economics, so you get a twofer. When you're dealing with doing a subject that you're putting together, you're always mindful of the ages that you're teaching to. That's why we're doing this series really in the summer, because I want you to be able to kind of get your thoughts together, get your curriculum together, and ask yourself how you want to do the different age groups, if you do, or if you just want to teach to one age group. It's up to you. We have so many ways to teach, especially history, geography, in a homeschool setting frugally. You can always, in geography, get in touch with the states. You can have your child either go online, write a letter to a state and ask for their tourism information or the information about their state. They will send them a packet, which is really exciting. If you can get this done, to get them from all 50 states. Kids love to get mail, number one. And then you have hands-on. There's always food that one state does different than another food. Again, you're bringing in home economics. You're bringing in food science. I can think of so when I married my husband, he's from Alabama, I'm from Indiana, and he came to my grandmother's. She made cornbread, and my husband said, well, this is cake. I said, well, no, it's not, it's cornbread. And he said, no, it has sugar in it. I said, well, of course it has sugar in it, right? So then I go to his family's and I taste cornbread and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? He said, this is cornbread. I'm like, oh, it's disgusting. Well, because it didn't have any sugar in it. I thought that is the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten. I learned there was more disgusting things that I had never eaten, but that's for another day. So there are certain states that, let's say you're doing a geography class and you have Chicago and you have New York, and you're talking about food, you're talking about pizza, right? So you make a Chicago style pizza, you make a New York style pizza, you have bagels that some are from New York, some are just regular bagels, some have a recipe that says, this is our family recipe from Iowa. Or you see what I'm saying? So you bring it in, no matter what you're teaching, you can always bring in something else that rounds it out, that makes it different, that makes it fun. Homeschooling should be fun. Remember that. Homeschooling should be fun. Same thing when we're teaching about the presidents or teaching about geography. Let's say I'm teaching world geography. We can always disseminate it down to the younger ones with little maps that they color, teaching about maps. That's a must for young kids. So we would teach about the maps. You're going to learn so much as they go through, but then you want to bring it to a different level. You would talk about their food, you would talk about their customs. So we're not necessarily talking about cut and dried facts. Let's bring some excitement in it. Let's talk about the customs that are in Australia that aren't in here. Let's talk about the customs that they do in Brazil that we don't do here. Everything, every place has a story. And this is not 1 year's worth. This is probably 2 years worth of curriculum ideas, right? You bring in their food. I keep bringing in food, I know, but that's an important part of societies. So you're using your home economics in with whatever history you're doing. And again, it's a twofer. You're getting two subjects that you're not going to have to specifically teach that second subject, but a Yum Yum box. Universal Yums is a company. I do not work for them. We don't even get them at the time. But they were an exciting box to get because it talked about the countries and it talked about their customs, and then we tasted their food. That was exciting. You can do that. You can maybe make your curriculum to what's going on in a Yum Yum box that month. So you study, you get the Yum Yum box, and instantly everybody understands it because you've studied it. There are international aisles of supermarkets that have different foods from different places. Whatever you're studying, bring it in. You can order foods from different places now. It's really easy. Go to different restaurants that specialize in different food. All of this you can do on a budget because you're not paying $100 per curriculum. You're not paying $50 per curriculum. You're taking one curriculum and then you're doing what you can do let's say, spice that curriculum up. If you're talking about the presidents, if you have a presidential library near you, that's a win-win. These are the kind of things we need to think about when we're teaching a subject. How do I add to it? What can I bring in that makes it a little more interesting? Again, when you were growing up, do you remember the date that Abraham Lincoln was born? No, but we do remember that he was assassinated. That we do remember, right? Because that was a big event. So I would encourage you to teach to the big events, teach to the interesting facts, and not to the dates and the, I don't want to say boring facts, but the facts. Let's get some facts in there, but let them be interesting facts that are going to stick with them. What do you remember from your history? I know from me, I was raised in Indiana, like I said. We went to the raceway because that's a big thing in Indiana, right? So that was one of our field trips. That really brought some Indiana history home, and I remember it. I know their flag, I know their bird, I know the song. It was important to me, but it was taught in a fun way. So I encourage you to get some hands-on into whatever subject you're going to do, but think about it, put some things together. They don't all have to be boring. They can be really exciting. How many times when you learned about presidents did you learn about their wives? Homeschooling should be fun. And remember, homeschooling is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And we do it together as a family. So go out and enjoy the journey. Goodbye.